Muhammad Ali is a famous American boxer who entered the history of the world sport. He had all possible sport titles, became Olympic champion several times. After his sports career, he was engaged in charity. On January 17, 1942, in Louisville, Kentucky, housewife Odessa Clay gave birth to a son. The boy was named Cassius Jr. after his father, a painter by trade. However, the world would recognize him by his pseudonym, Muhammad Ali. Cassius' brother Rudolph, who appeared to the couple 2 years later, would also change his real name to Rahman Ali when he grew up. Their family was never destitute, representing the middle class, although the living conditions of the white and black populations differed. The father of the family made a living drawing signs, and his wife occasionally moonlighted by cooking and cleaning in wealthy homes. There was even enough money in the budget to save for a cottage in a very nice neighborhood. Historically, people who build sports careers rarely become famous in other areas of life. Their success stories are similar, and therefore each new one is of little interest. But, of course, there are exceptions. The most striking of these is the life and career of Muhammad Ali. Childhood and youth of the future champion passed far from unclouded. In the 50s in America, there was a very difficult atmosphere of inequality. Even 10-year-old Cassius felt the pressure and fell asleep in tears, not understanding why black people were considered second-rate people. Cassius Clay was not afraid of work and, as a child, scrubbed desks and chalkboards at the University of Louisville, earning an allowance. But his parents dreamed of a different future for their son. But no matter how hard the intelligent Clay couple tried to get their hyperactive child to sit at poetry books and cram him with pencils and paints, he raced outside the cozy, well-kept cottage to ride his bicycle and run with his friends. That is, until a local bully took his bicycle away from him and gave the young owner a good thrashing. Cassius cried at first, but then, like a true American, went to the police, where he left a verbal vow to get even with his abusers. The policeman figured out that for such tricks the cocky but loose-limbed kid would be pinned to the pavement, advised him to first learn how to beat up the assailants, promised to show him some tricks and invited him to practice. And so dashingly trained the guy, that a few years later he called one of the famous trainers, Angelo Dundee, and said that if the Dundee mass wanted to help, he, that is Cassius, would smash on the ring all those who would dare to step into the ring. The trainer was stunned by the pressure, but he took the kid and did not regret it even once. He had extraordinary muscular giftedness, natural mobility, damn intuition, elephantine endurance and reaction, like a mongoose. In Ali's words, "I hated every minute of training, but I told myself, don't quit, suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion." It was hard to train Cassius. He bullied others a lot, constantly shouting that he was the best athlete and future champion. Joe Martin even used to kick him out of the gym, and none of the coaches could see any special potential in the guy. With his height of about 2 meters and weight of over 1 pound, Cassius moved so easily around the ring, so accurately felt the distance, and so skillfully executed hooks, uppercuts and jabs, that he at first stunned his opponents, and then knocked them out cold. "I flutter like a butterfly and sting like a bee," he would say as he put on his gloves. This butterfly was confounding the established boxers with his toe dances and crushing head punches, remembering the same policeman's admonition that speed decides a lot in a fight. I'm very fast. In the bedroom, before I go to sleep, I hit the light switch and manage to get into bed before the lights go out. 17-year-old ring dancer Cassius passed the Golden Glove tournament without a hitch and soon. But the desire to conquer the world did not leave him alone, and at 22 he fought Sonny Liston, the then champion. Liston was on his feet after the hard fight, and Cassius's eyesight had become blurred, but the world champion title warmed his soul. His matches gathered clouds of fans and connoisseurs, and at them Cassius Clay, who had already changed his name to Muhammad Ali, gave a beating to the most iron-headed opponents, repeatedly confirming his championship title. Champions aren't made in gyms. It's what you have inside that makes a champion, your desires, dreams, and goals. In 1960, Cassius, dreaming of a dizzying sports career, received an invitation to participate in the Olympic Games. The boxer's trademark style began to emerge. The innovator precisely danced around his opponent on his toes, and his lowered hands provoked him to a punch, which he always dodged. He was often criticized, both for the way he fought and for his boastful manner of presenting himself. Only fear of flying could stop his pressure. The boxer was so afraid of flying to Rome that he almost gave up the Olympics. Cassius made up his mind by purchasing a parachute. Clay confidently reached the final and defeated Pole's Zbigniew Zakowski in a tough bout, earning a gold medal. His father was proud of his son and even painted his steps the color of the U.S. flag. The first guy to lightly flap the wings of the 29-year-old butterfly was Joe Frazier, nicknamed Smokin'. He was said to have beaten his opponents with such force that smoke was wafting from his gloves. He also beat Muhammad Ali pretty badly, knocking him out in the 15th round, but 3 years later Ali was able to get his revenge, and another year later he fought the Smoker in a fight that was not only called the Manila Massacre, but also the Battle of the Century. Joe stood for 14 rounds, and I couldn't knock him out. Ever since, I've been seeing this very fight in my dreams all the time, and my wife says that I, asleep, am waving my arms, trying to give Fraser the right punch, calling his name. After that fight, one thought flashed through Joe's weary head was to end his career. The thoroughly battered butterfly was still fluttering, but was no longer showing matches of that class. Boxing is when a bunch of white people bet money on two black people punching each other in the face. But if boxing was banned, people would still watch it, that's their nature. But it's just going to be underground fights, with a lot more violence and blood. A few years later, already heavy in losing his former speed, Ali again tried to shake off the old days and show top-quality boxing, but he was beaten and that was the end of the professional boxer's career. Muhammad Ali set himself a goal and moved towards it with the inexorability of a tsunami. Determined by all means to learn how to fight back bullies, Ali asked his brother to throw stones at him, trying to dodge them. In time, there were fewer bruises, and Cassius dodged stones like a cat from a slipper. High blood pressure that was tearing his head off didn't scare the future boxing star either. Doctors strictly forbade him to quit and improve his health, but Cassius, 17 years old, once again sassed himself, advising the docs not to throw a tantrum. Besides being physically gifted, there was nothing wrong with his mental faculties. And he had a lot of cunning, too. Once he noticed that respectable boxers didn't give a damn about the Louisville upstart and didn't want to fight him, he challenged them to a fight, provoking them and bashing them to pieces. Cassius jumped in front of the cameras, demonstrating exactly how he was going to destroy his opponents, announcing the whole list by name, inventing the title, the greatest, and yelling to his opponents' faces that freaks don't make champions. I'm the smartest, bravest, and funniest. I have no flaws. Everyone should emulate me, I'm great. The professionals marveled at the boor with a tin throat, gritted their teeth, rushed to the ring with a great desire to beat the spirit out of the brute, and they're passed out from his fast and powerful blows. Aside from his cunning and agile wit, Clay had a keen eye for the world and a wicked sense of humor. Cassius would tell anyone interested about his vision of racism, where everything white represents good and light and everything black is creepy and dangerous. All white angels go to heaven and black angels make milk and honey in the kitchen. And why does an angel bake a white cake and the devil makes a chocolate cake? And when Cassius, an Olympic gold medalist and a good Christian, was prevented from eating at a restaurant in his hometown by refusing service, that was the straw that prompted the greatest to embrace Islam. A religion he felt was truer than the rest and didn't brainwash the faithful, love the whites, hate the blacks. When Cassius Clay decided to become a Muslim and change his name, though he was incredibly proud of his former name and thought it sounded gladiatorian, people around him opened their mouths. The newborn Orthodox took responsible approach to the change of religion. He began to pray 5 times a day, and then apologized to his opponents, who he treated like a mother, and wrote the booklet, The Healing. The World Boxing Association did not stand aside and stripped him of his title, but Ali again quickly defeated everyone, and the title was returned to him. A similar story with the title was repeated when Ali pretended to be feeble-minded in order not to do military service. Clay liked to joke, "I'm the greatest, not the smartest." In 1984, Muhammad Ali was diagnosed with a terrible Parkinson's disease. He became hard of hearing, speaking, all motor functions failed. Muhammad courageously held the main blow of his life, the blow of destiny. The incurable illness was a consequence of Clay's professional sports activities. His body suffered, but his mind remained sharp and his heart kind, and the athlete devoted himself to helping people, in charity. Muhammad Ali died on June 4, 2016. He was 74 years old. The athlete's main illness was Parkinson's disease. Historically, every sport has its leaders and idols that all future generations look up to. In soccer it's Pelé, in basketball it's Michael Jordan, and in boxing such personality became Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali's success story is full of pain, ambition, and an incredible desire to win, not only in the ring, but also in society. It was the story of an incredibly good, ambitious and not shy of the word, the best, as well as a strong man physically, mind and spirit.